everyone, welcome back to We Say Yes, the Youth Entrepreneurship for Self-Empowerment program. Alright, let's now think about working a business. There are 9 areas I want you to think about. They're important for the working of a business, and therefore these are things that you must consider when you're developing your plan. All of us, we have to develop a plan, okay? What are some of these areas we have to look at? We need to look at our partners. Most of the time, we don't do business alone. We don't develop the business alone. We have partners. And so some of the partners are people who are engaged in the business with us, but we have other kinds of partners that we must remember. Who will supply the goods that you want to trade or to sell, okay? Who would support you in providing the services? These are some of your partners, so that's one area you need to look at. The other area that you need to define, you have to actually be able to write it out and explain it, are the activities you would engage in. The main activities that is required in order to do this business, to earn this money, okay? And along with those activities, when you work that out, you will see what are some of the resources you need. And you need different types of resources. If you need people resources, we call that human resources. Sometimes we would need resources in the form of a physical place to operate from. Those are physical resources. And do not forget, we need financial resources. You also need to look at things like customer relationships. How does this business work? How do I attract people to my business so that they will come in and they would participate and we could do this exchange? I give a service, they give me money for it. I give a product, I get money for it. What you do there to engage people and to keep them coming back, that's called customer relationships. You need to know before you even do the customer relationship part, you need to do a little research and see, well, who are the customers themselves? Who am I targeting? Who are my customers? Am I targeting women? Am I targeting men? Am I targeting children? Who are my customers? Because that is going to determine how you develop this business, okay? And you want to look at your operating cost. Okay, anytime you're doing a business, you need to find out what are the costs involved. There's some cost involved just a startup. Before you make a cent, you've got to put out this cost. You've got to put out this money. And those are your startup costs. So before you even start the business, if you need a physical place, that is a cost. Before you even start the business, if you need to develop the product, like the mask, if you need to buy the cloth, if you need a sewing machine, etc., those are under your startup costs. Now, I wouldn't be able to discuss all of them in this episode, but we're going to do an activity in the breakout room where you will get a chance to go through each one of these areas. But let me just list the areas for you. The areas that you need to look at in working your business. Who are your partners? You need to look at the key activities you want to engage in, what resources you need. You also need to look at who is your customer, and then customer relationship. How do I get and keep those customers coming back? You also need to look at the channels you would use to get your product to your customer. And some of these channels, we use them also in marketing, because sometimes you have to let people know what you're doing. Very important, you need to look at your operating cost. What is going to cost you to start up this business, and then what costs are involved in continuing your business going forward. And then all businesses, you want to generate and make money. This is your revenue. All right, the money that you make is your revenue. You need to keep that in focus because you always want to be making more money than you are putting out to run the business. Okay, I just want to go through one example with you before we wrap up this evening. Think about a doubles vendor that we saw in episode 1. Okay, the double vendor need to go to several groceries or wholesale places where he can get the raw material for his business. And you could think about that. He need the flour to make the bara, he need the chana, etc., etc. What are some of the key activities? Well, he has to be involved in cooking, in transporting the product from where he cook it to where he's going to sell it. Okay, he has to be involved in sales. Okay, in setting up the business where it will operate, in having a clean environment that will invite people to come and purchase. All of those are part of his activities. And for the resources, you may think about, well, he may have a stall that he has to set up. He may have people who he need to sell with him. He may need transportation. Those would be some of the resources. So you get an idea of what you do in each area. You have to identify exactly what you need. In terms of the customers, all right. Well, the customers, he may decide, there is a new building going up in Arima, so. It's not as close to the center of Arima. Probably I could set up a double stall there. Or it seems that doubles and gas stations go hand in hand. So he will decide, I will target people who come into the gas station. Those kinds of things you need to do. All right? So let's just take a little look back at the journey we had today in this episode. We started looking at how the business works. And we say when you're looking at how the business works, you have to consider a couple of things. Who are your partners? All right? What resources you need? What funding you need? Who are your customers? And your customer relations. How you're going to get people to come to your business and not only come, but keep them coming back. So don't forget, we say yes to entrepreneurship. And today, we're going to start a journey towards building our own business. Good going, entrepreneurs. See you again next week. Bye.